And they have done it. They have done it. The Denver Nuggets are NBA champions in 2023. I can't believe I'm saying those words. I never thought I'd be saying those words, but here we are in 2023, June of 2023, in the finals against Miami. Denver is finally a team that has a championship after 46 long years. Okay, I can't say that I've been a fan for all those 46, but oh my god, after following this team for such a long time, I remember back in 2016 or 17 when Jokic had that first pass to Kenneth Faried and it kind of put him on the map. Kenneth Faried or Nene, I'm not sure who it was, and it put him on the map. This guy was for real, a big man who could pass. And since then, I was completely, I was so interested in all these highlights because they were really cool. And as fate would have it, in 2018, I remember I drafted him in my fantasy league. It was an automatic draft, so completely by chance, because I wasn't around. I didn't have internet because I was on a trip while the draft was going on. So it automatically drafted Nikola Jokic, and I didn't expect it. But since then, I've been following his stats day in and day out, just checking to see how he would do. And that's when I became a full-fledged Nikola Jokic fan. And now, after years and years of saying, he won 2 MVPs straight, but he didn't deserve them. Embiid is always better. Giannis is always better. Now, he has led his own team to the finals and to their first ever championship. By the way, one of the most dominant championship runs, playoff runs in the history of basketball. He led everyone, in points, rebounds, and assists in the playoffs. Led everyone. Every single one in those 3 major categories. That's never been done before, and Jokic did it. A big man who can pass, a big man who can rebound, and a big man you can depend on to make a tough shot when it matters the most. And oh my god, they are finally champions. I can't believe it. Everyone's going to discount how, they went up against Miami. 8 seed. They went up against Lakers. 7 seed. They went up against Minnesota, playoff team, 8 seed. But you know what? Maybe it's because it's the first time I really paid attention to almost every single game. But when I see them play, they just play with so much, sometimes with as much desperation as I've ever seen. In Game 2 of the final series with Miami, they really weren't locked in defensively. They didn't have that desperation. But I just saw that they wanted this so bad. And even if they went up against whoever was in front of them, be it, an 8 seed, a 7 seed, or a playing team or whatever, they beat them handily. So is it their fault that they had those teams in front of them? And can you say that the Miami Heat are just a regular 8 seed when they beat the first seed Milwaukee Bucks and the 2nd seed Boston Celtics? Can you really say that? Doesn't it mean that those teams were worse than the Miami Heat because they got beat? Huh? I know it might be a different story. Boston Celtics, they're deep, and the Milwaukee Bucks have been the best team all season, right? And it might be a different matchup and it might be different altogether, but the Miami Heat beat them. Okay? They're the better team. And Jokic and the Nuggets beat them. Okay? So there's no easy path to the finals, as we saw. There's no finals with an asterisk. I mean, lots of people will say the Kevin Durant ones, but this team, this homegrown team with a lot of drafted talent, they finally made it. And even today, when I'm not sure what the stats are exactly, but at one point they were one of 19 from 3, and I think they missed 20 altogether. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that even through this slugfest of a game, this complete slow, physical, grueling game, they were able to eke it out and win. And oh my god, there really is no easy path to the finals. This is the first time when I really paid attention to coaching, because everyone says Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. That's what they say. I mean, of course, Pop may be in that conversation, but he hasn't really had a competitive team recently. And we've seen Spoelstra bring undermanned teams, or teams with seemingly not as much talent as other teams, all the way to the finals. We've seen it twice in the last 4 years, and they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals thrice. They were one shot away from making the finals last year. So this guy really makes the most out of his players. And I was just seeing it because it's the first time I really wanted to pay attention to it because, when it comes to the Miami Heat, you can't really look at a specific player. Bam and Jimmy, sure, they're great. But it's really the coaching that you look at as their advantage when it comes to beating all these good teams. So I really looked up to Eric Spoelstra. He's part Filipino, by the way, which might be one of the reasons. I heard. I'm not sure if that's true. But when I was seeing it, they did so many different things that I've never seen any other teams try. Like ballsy moves. In the beginning of this game, they picked up Jamal Murray full court press. As soon as he got the inbounds pass, full court press. Everyone was on man-to-man defense, full court press, making sure that Jamal Murray would have a tough time getting to half court, and they really tried to wear him down. And maybe it worked. I think Jamal Murray, this game, he didn't have the highest shooting percentage. And a lot of players on this team tonight really did not shoot very well. But maybe it's because they were super physical at the start of the game, and they really made use of all those minutes where Jokic and Aaron Gordon were in foul trouble, and as soon as DeAndre Jordan and Jeff Green came in to sub, they went into zone and completely snuffed out that Denver offense. I know Nikola Jokic is a bit of an offensive system all by himself, but when he was off the floor for a lot of the time in this series, they were able to, keep their head above water, and they were able to really keep up with the Miami Heat. But today, the Miami Heat played with so much desperation, and they really tried their best to make sure that whenever Nikola Jokic isn't on the floor, they could capitalize and get ahead. And they did. For most of the game, they were really ahead. And can I just tell you, watching a finals game like this, I think this might be the first time I watch a final series. Every single game from the beginning of every single game. I think all the other series, I wasn't completely invested because when KD was on the Warriors, sure, it was kind of a foregone conclusion that they'd win. When LeBron and the Cavs beat Golden State, I only watched Game 7 because I really didn't see them coming back. So this time was one of the only times when I watched every single game from the beginning. I know in 2020 and during the bubble, I really watched a lot of Nuggets games because that was a crazy run, and I was happy that I caught those. But today and during these past few weeks, these past few months, really, I've been paying so much attention to not only Denver but all the other teams and watching games live. And from the beginning, it really puts so much more perspective than I'm used to, because I usually just consume basketball just like anyone else. Watch a lot of highlights, say oh, this guy got a good game, look at the box score. But when you're watching full-on games like this, and then after that, watching all the coverage after the games, reactions from people, Skip and Shannon talking about stuff. We have first things first. I love Nick Wright and Chris Broussard, and we got what's his name, Wilds. I love the whole crew. I watch so many of these shows. So before the game, I watch the pregame show where they're kind of gonna talk about how it's gonna go, their kind of predictions, and then I watch the game, and then after the game, I watch the post-game, game reaction stuff. And then after that, I watch the post-game after the whole game is finished and they get to review film. I see some people who really analyze that film after kind of giving it some time to digest. And I've been watching so much of this that when Denver finally lost their first home game in Game 2 of the finals, I thought I was going to lose my mind. I thought I was gonna lose it. I was like, holy shit. I can't stand this. I got so used to watching a Denver game and watching, whatever coverage happens after that, and then seeing the predictions. And when the series got to 1-1, it was really tough to watch because everyone really said, oh, Miami has a chance. Denver's a first seed, but this 8 seed is really gonna come and, take the show. Because they figured stuff out. They keep saying, they figured something out. And Spo is the best coach in all of basketball. I really didn't want to watch all that stuff. So as soon as that game was over, Miami won, I watched nothing. Then Game 3 came along. I watched that whole thing. They won handily. And then I kind of went back and watched everything in the past. All the coverage after Game 2. And now looking back at it, and today especially, some games are so hard to watch. I remember watching from the beginning, and sometimes, in the first quarter, I could really say some of these baskets are kind of, I wouldn't say meaningless, but they don't really hold as much value as the ones in later on the clock. Of course, when I'm comparing it to football, which is something I watched recently, someone could make a goal in the first few seconds, and that really matters, so you kind of really have to watch every single second. And sometimes basketball gets hard to watch because of all the fouls, all the timeouts, everything that, really kind of stops all the momentum of the game from going on. It really makes it pretty difficult to watch sometimes. But throughout this whole series, I take those timeouts, check the box score, take a breather, have a little cup of water or whatever. Because going straight, watching these games straight, it really has given me an experience that I've never really felt before. And just now, culminating in Game 5, they win in Denver, by the way, home court. Them just celebrating with all of their family and all of their friends. And I really love the Denver Nuggets so much, and I love the culture that they've built, and I love Coach Mike. I love Mike Malone, man. I just really want to root for him. I know in the Western Conference Finals, he had a lot to say about, people underrating the Denver Nuggets, and no one really ever talking about the Denver Nuggets because they were going up against LeBron. And I know when you're up against LeBron, you're never going to be the headline because everyone's going to talk about LeBron. But I just love the culture that he's really set there. When they talk in interviews, it's almost like they've been brainwashed. They've been briefed beforehand, okay, you got to say this, you got to always keep it humble and all that. And I really think because Nikola Jokic is so humble, because he really doesn't want to show off or anything, that's really trickled down to all the other players in this team. And when you hear them talk, when they say, what does this mean to you, what does this championship mean to you, and they always say to do it with this group of guys, and it's so special because some of these relationships that we have today, we're going to have even if our basketball careers are over. Jokic said that. And I know Mike Malone always, after every post game, he was always really hard on his team. If he saw that they were lacking on defense, they weren't really committing all that hard on the defensive end and making sloppy plays, he's always first to say, we need to be better, we need to try harder next time. If it's a matter of effort, then, it should be a foregone conclusion that we're going to give 100%. And every single time they would win a game, they never look forward to the championship. They never say, yeah, we can do it. We can win the whole thing. This is it. It's always, we just need 2 more. We just need 3 more wins. We just need 1 more win, right? And today, before the game, he kept saying they want it more than us. They're going to be more desperate. This team has no quit, but we're going to be more desperate. We're going to want it more, and we're going to take it from them because they're not going to give it to us. And, oh, man, what a coach. I love Mike Malone. So easy to root for. I know a lot of people have been turned off by some of his underdog, getting mad at the media. People aren't really going to take that all too well, but I love him. He's like that dad that really tries, Let me just take my victory lap. I can't believe I'm sitting here actually talking about the Denver Nuggets being champions. Who knew this day would ever come? I never thought it was ever going to come, but here we are. And I could get used to this. I could really get used to this. Their core is locked up. So we have Jokic and Murray, Aaron Gordon, and KCP. Is that right? I think the 4 of them, they're locked up. Bruce Brown, I think, is going to have a player option for next year. He's probably going to decline that because he's going to get offered big money. Christian Brown, who has been a revelation in these playoffs. They're giving this rookie so many good minutes, and he had a great game today, doing so many of the hustle plays, great rebounding, KCP especially. I just want to say KCP, some of the things he does on the defensive end, it's so hard to notice sometimes. But I love him on Butler. I know a lot of people want to put Aaron Gordon on Butler, but instead of Aaron Gordon, when I see KCP on Jimmy, his hands are so fast. I feel like he gets steals all the time, or if not a steal, just a bit of a deflection. Like get you off your rhythm, and he does this. When he's chasing back on transition defense, he pokes at the ball and completely makes their fast break fizzle out. Like he is so clutch when it comes to those things. Not only earlier today, but also 2 days ago in Game 4, and all those times before that. Underrated, very underrated player. Oh man, of course, championship pedigree. He won with the Lakers in 2020, but I gotta give him his flowers because man, he did so many things that they really needed to do, and he really kept his head high, shooting 2 free throws, very clutch free throws, by the way. Also, Bruce Brown, we'd love to have you back next year. Hopefully, you will come back, but I don't know if we could afford it. But man, oh man. There you go. The Denver Nuggets are champions. It was really hard some of the times watching the games. Game 2 was really hard to watch. Today, especially, so many lead changes. Not really a huge lead. Going down to the wire to the last possession. Oh my God, man. It's been hard, but now, actually, I didn't sleep all night. I didn't sleep last night. I don't know why. Maybe I was too excited because maybe this could be the day the Denver Nuggets take it home, but I couldn't sleep, and now I think I really got to go rest. But I'll upload this real quick, and as Mike Malone says, this team, we're not going to be satisfied with one. We want more. Go Denver Nuggets. Go Nikola Jokic. Go Jamal Murray. The best team ever. See ya.